gear up for a fusion of fast lanes, smooth tarmacs, and a touch of tea. Where adrenaline meets elegance, it's time for throttles, tarmacs, and tea times. Hello and welcome to Teacups and Tires, where every lap begins with the perfect brew. I'm your team principal, TNT. So on this episode of Triple T, we are headed to Abu Dhabi. Now, Triple T episodes are going to be long, so let's buckle up and get right into it. So first, let's talk about the location. So we have Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the United Arab Emirates, and obviously the Emirates that you're in is Abu Dhabi. The official language is Arabic. Even though the official language and spoken language is Arabic, everything is written in Arabic and in English. In a lot of the tourist areas that you do go to, most people will speak basic English. It is right off the beautiful Persian Gulf, and just heads up, 99 is for police, 998 is for ambulance, and 997 is for fire, just in case you need it. Just a solo travel girly tip. Wherever I go, I always take a picture of the German and the American embassy and screenshot it, just have it in my phone for safekeeping, so I would do the same for wherever country you're from. Next up, we have the landmarks. Unfortunately, I was not able to explore when I was there on holiday, but I would love to go back to do the sightseeing. So I know whatever I do visit next time, I would love to go see the Grand Mosque, obviously Ferrari World, and the observation deck. For some reason, I have a thing for going up really high places when I travel. I don't know why. So whether that is the tallest building there, the tallest mountain there, a rooftop bar, I will probably always be found at least in one of the highest places in that country, if possible. So just a heads up with the currency, by the time it took me to do the visuals, to do the voice recording and upload it, there is probably going to be about a 3-month gap, so these numbers are incorrect. So with all that being said, something I do is I always check the currency a week before I leave, and then I also check the currency again 3 days before takeoff, just so I know the exact change rate the day before I leave. The money that they use in the UAE, the bills are called dirhams and the coins are called fils. We are now ready for takeoff with aviation escapades. How I got there, I channeled my inner Lawrence of Arabia and took a camel. But in all seriousness, I only can speak for Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Their travel systems is way more advanced than a lot of infrastructure. Like I said multiple times before, I was living in Dubai, so I just drove to Abu Dhabi. And it only took me an hour and 30 minutes to get. An hour and 30-minute drive is about 135 kilometers, which is about 84 miles. Driving there, I do not remember how much it cost, but I had a small to mid-size SUV, and I filled it up right before I got on the road in Dubai and was able to make it to Abu Dhabi without filling up again. So it didn't even take half a tank of gas to get there, because I know I filled it up, drove all the way there. When I got to Abu Dhabi, I found a petrol station, filled up again, and parked the car for the whole weekend. So when I left, I didn't have to stop at the petrol station again. While most people will not be driving, I will just give you the information on flying. Like I said, coming from where I live in the Americas, it already takes me 2 days to fly, so I don't travel no less than a week whenever I go any places. So that's why it's the 27th through the 8th in December, with landing on the 29th. And like I said, there's a 3-month gap between when I'm researching this and when I'm publishing this. As of January, it would be around $1,500 to $1,700. Still keeping with the same ideology, I don't go anywhere unless it's a week or more. The only difference is that I would leave on the 8th of December, which is the Monday right after the GP. Unlike the 2-day flight from the Americas, this is only a 6 to 10 hour flight, including layovers, so it would take you, sit you back, I didn't convert it, but it will sit you back around $570 to about $900. Let's talk about hotels. I stayed at the Doubletree by Hilton Abu Dhabi Yas Island Residence. Yes, that is a long name for a hotel, but it's ridiculous how many hotels there are in this little area. So this is like a little picture of what the room looked like. This is not my room because I got the king size studio suite that had a full kitchen, a dining room area, and a huge bathroom, which I absolutely love. Tempting to find the price for night, but then I realized because the hotel industry, the prices are going to be extremely influx during the EP season, so it doesn't really make sense to tell you the average price for night because it's going to change by December. Overall, it was a really nice hotel. The staff there was super helpful with my bags and stuff. There was free parking, but I really was only at my hotel to sleep, change, and that's it. I barely even ate it. My hotel closed everywhere else. So, another cool thing about the DoubleTree was right next door. It was the Warner's Brother Hotel, and upstairs at the very top, they had a rooftop pool and bar and restaurant. So pretty much when I wasn't eating at the track, I was eating there. If I were to go back and do it all again, even though I am a Hilton girly, I would definitely stay at the W because the W in Abu Dhabi and Dubai are amazing. So if I didn't pick the W, I would pick the Radisson Blue Hotel. And that's because these two hotels are like overlooking or right next to the track. I don't believe in parasocial relationships, and I feel like it's really creepy to find a hotel that the drivers are staying in. That is extremely weird. But I will say all the people that were sitting next to me in the suite at the track were either staying at the Radisson Blue or the W, and I know I had drinks at the W, and that's where a lot of people were staying at. Even though I'm not talking about the prices of these hotels, you can assume that they're going to be costly, but there are different options. So just find a hotel in your budget. A little bit of tidbit. Also, if you find a hotel in your budget and it's not one of the hotels that you want to see people from, all you have to do is pretty much send a reservation at one of the hotel's restaurants, and then you can live it up a little bit. It's raining, so I'm praying it, because next up we have climate cues. So quick rundown on the temperature. They have highs of 79 and lows of 63 Fahrenheit, or highs of 26, lows of 15. During the daytime, it is just sunglasses and sunscreen. It is not like unbearable, like desert heat, but it is still hot. And at night, it still is the desert in the winter, so it gets super cold and we're run off the Gulf. So bring a jacket if you're always cold like me. We'd always want to be respectful global citizens, so now it's time for the cultural norms. Well, I will say, on the track, it's slightly a little bit of free-for-all and around the track, but we are still in a Muslim culture, and it is more strict than Dubai, so just be respectful. So pretty much just do your due diligence. If you have a question, Google it. Just don't do anything that can get you locked up in another country. Watch your mouth. Pretty much just watch what you say, watch what's around you, don't criticize the government, Islam, or any sensitive topics that can get you in trouble. If you have critiques about the place, the government, anything like that, best do it in the privacy of your own room. Like, I'm being serious, I'm not trying to fear-monger you, but just be very wary of what you say. This doesn't involve me so much because I'm not a person that curses, but also cursing is really frowned upon, so again, watch them on. In public, you can't, so you just don't. I think young kids and babies are fine, but I don't have kids, so I don't know. So speaking for myself, I don't meddle with medical stuff, like you need to have small snacks or drinks, but try to hold off if possible, not doing it like inside public transportation or inside like the taxis or things like that. Right, I know for me, with countries that I'm really too, like, not sure with, like, eating public is not a crime, but it looked frowned upon. Just wear your medical bracelet, and 9 times out of 10, that would get you out of trouble. Clothing. Now, this is, like, a really big one. Around the track and around the circuit area, like the Yas Island area, it is less conservative. Brian, as soon as you step, like, outside of the Yas Island area, you can definitely tell the difference, and then it gets extremely conservative. So just remember sightseeing and things like that. Be respectful of what you wear, including and not limited to any vulgar sayings or t-shirt that may be inappropriate, sleeveless, tattoos, all of that count as indecent. And I will mention again, Abu Dhabi is not like Dubai, and different emirates have different royal families, so different rules. So just be aware, and in Abu Dhabi, unless you're going to a mosque, you do not have to cover your hair.
voice dot.
Things you would like more in-depth, at least female ideas on what to wear to the track and around, please check out my other video, Pit Lane Chic, where I do go more in depth of what I actually wore to the GP. I know this one may be a strange one, and I'm so sorry to the Italians, but hand gestures, middle fingers, thumbs up are all considered disrespectful over there, and you actually can get fined, so just be very careful of what you do with your hands. Photo consent. Do not take pictures of government buildings, like if it has a fence around it, do not take a picture of it. Just do not. Sure about Abu Dhabi, but I know for sure in Dubai they have the infamous Lamborghini cop cars. You are allowed to take pictures of those if you ask police officers. But I would ask first before you take the photo. Taking pictures of people without their consent is a no-go and just plain common sense. So if you're taking a picture of like a selfie or something, just be mindful of who's behind you, especially like kids and women. The PDA, aka public display of affection, and honestly, it's just better that you just don't. I really don't know what else to say. Just keep your hands to yourself. And that was obviously like an interesting one. And I am looking at the law as we speak. It says holding hands if you're married is tolerated, but anything else is like discouraged. You better not do it. Also with the PDA, it just became legal where non-married couples can stay in their hotel room. On the topic of non-married couples and PDA, the LGBTQ plus people, I still think it's illegal, so just beware. And if you are traveling with your, I guess it would be considered your partner, just ask for a room with 2 beds. It will save you the hassle later. And if you're also part of the LGBT plus people, yeah, no PDA whatsoever. Don't even think about holding hands. Because that I think that's still a crime over there. Next we have track info. Just some quick history on the circuit. There is 16 sections and the DSR zones are between section 5 and 6, and then there is another one between 8 and 9. First race held was in 2009. There's been 16 races since, and I think it's been renewed until 2030 or 2031, I can't remember. Most wins for driver, so Hamilton, don't want to say his last name. And the most wins per team on the circuit would be Red Bull Racing. So the circuit length is a little over 5 kilometers. The race length gives us about 306 kilometers, which gives us a total of 58 laps. So now we have the section that I sat in. I sat in the Yas Suite North Premium, and that is actually a row picture of my view. And I'm not going to tell you the row price of my seats, but there's $4 signs, you do the math. So obviously the race type is a circuit, and the race time, I said sunset, but when I look at the official title, it's called a day to night race, which means a sunset race. And lastly, we have quick facts, unique experiences, tips, and tricks. Transportation getting around, there's Uber and there is Careem. Uber will be almost certainly way more expensive than if you just download the Careem app. So the main company you should be using to get around because it is cheaper is Careem with the C, because as you can see, like the C is like the little smiley face and logo. But expectancy delayed, your Careem will be spelled with a K. The logo will still be the same for German speakers, but when you type it in, obviously, like with your search bar, it's going to be spelled with a K. But I'm pretty sure they've changed it, but I'm not sure, so just a heads up. Also, with using Uber and Careem, Careem is for locals, so if you're ever at the racetrack and it's taking you a long time to get Uber, just Careem it because most people will be using Uber. So this is when you're only using apps like Uber or Careem. They will have, like, you can do like the luxury ride, the cheap ride, whatever. They will have a ride that is Emirati only. This means they only want people that are Emirati and or speak Arabic. Now we have one of my favorite things about the UAE is pink seats. So pink seats are for taxis, transportation, anything like that. And all the pink seats means it's just for single women and their children only. So when you're on the train, they will have a car that is just pink for only women and kids.
voice.
When you go on buses, there'll be like seats at the front of the bus that is just painted pink so that only women can sit there. And also they have pink only taxis where the driver's a woman, and yeah, it's great. Also, the pink seats, just common like sense and common courtesy. Older women and pregnant women get the seats first, but you can still stand in like the pink car. I will say I did not use public transportation when I was in Abu Dhabi, but in Dubai, the pink seats still stand with transportation. But I do know in Abu Dhabi, they do have the pink taxis. Though I'm not going to incriminate myself, but I am just going to say a lot of sites and banking accounts are banned over there and will not work. So you may be a good idea to look for a VPN. So I'm not sponsoring anything, so I'm not going to say what VPN I use, but there's some that you can use for a month or a year, so just find one that works for you, or you can just deal without using your phone for certain sites for a few days. But I will say, if you do use certain sites without a VPN, you may get a fine. Yeah, so just Google it and you'll figure out what I'm saying. Since we're talking about VPNs, if you have banks like Cash App or any preload or the cards or any online banking like that, they will not work without a VPN. And what I mean by this is that you can't book at your bank account through online banking without a VPN. So I know from experience, my Cash App wouldn't work, one of my actual banks from America wouldn't work, and one of my banks in Germany would not work without a VPN. The UAE is a MasterCard Visa type of country, so Amex only works in high-end establishments or large establishments. So fair warning, bring a variety of cards so you don't run into any incidents. Not that you'll need food delivery, because I hope going to the circuit you're going to be experiencing and not just eating in your hotel. But Talabat is one of the best companies for food delivery. If you also want food delivery, you can also use the Careem app, but Talabat is way less expensive. And whether you're using like Careem, Uber, Talabat, it's always good to remember, do not tip in the app. Tip in cash once your delivery or your ride is finished. Speaking of tipping, it is not expected but common practice. High-end places will add a service charge about 10% and a tourism levy, which is about 6% added to the bill. Sometimes these service charges will be already added into the menu price and they will have a little side of what you're paying and how much is added. But that being said, if the service is great, you can tip if you choose to. If you see that the service charges or the tourism levies are not added into the end of the bill or not added into the menu price, then add 10 to 15%. So just some common tipping amount, it's to leave at least 5 to 10 dirhams or more if they went above and beyond service. And as always, remember in this country, rounding up or adding a little cash in hand when it's like transportation or delivery driver is a nice gesture, but it is not mandatory. Drinking technically should have been in the cultural norms section, but since this is such a big chunk of the culture and more information is needed, I decided to put an end to the video. Obviously, alcohol is a big no-no in Islam. Even like the champagne they use during this GP is actually bubbling rose water. So yeah, it's a big no-no in this culture and country. If you're a non-practicing Muslim or not Islamic or anything that has to do with it, you are allowed to drink in designated licensed locations. So that means bars, restaurants, clubs, hotels, things of that nature. So why I'm being so particular on who is allowed to drink is because if they do think that you're a Muslim or a practicing Muslim, you will not be able to serve. So if you have like a Middle Eastern passport, they will not serve you. This is only from what I've seen and what I experienced, and I know that this is kind of a big thing. If you have the wrong passport, you will not be able to drink. If it's a Muslim country and they're this strict about who can drink, it makes sense that there's no open bottles, no open containers, no open anything while in public. If you do want to drink, you need to have your passport. There was times where I've had my ID with me, and luckily the people knew me from a couple nights and they just let it go, but bring your passport with you while you're drinking. If you wish to buy your own drinks at a store, you will still need your passport, but there will be people outside asking you to buy them drinks. But if less you want to go to jail, just don't do it.
Voice.
Don't previously said you needed your passport, but that is circuit only. You need your passport. If you go to a restaurant anywhere else outside of the circuit, your ID from your country of origin is perfectly fine. I hope that all this information was helpful during your time at the next Grand Prix. And this is going to be the first video of this series, but it takes a long time with these videos, so I don't know if I can do it for everyone, but this is a good start. Well, the next one that I have been to was Monza, so I'm going to attempt to do one of these for Monza, which would be way easier since it's a European country. But hopefully I can go to Qatar and do that one too. But if you have any Grand Prix that you want to know more information about, I can definitely do research. So please comment down below if there's any Grand Prix that you're dying to know information like this for. As always, I'm just a girl with her mic, her teacups, and tires, just brewing the ultimate mix of style and speed. So I'll see you at the checkered flag.